2nd. Last time we had a town hall meeting, we talked about the capital campaign, which is nearly upon us. I need to put this down. Would you do that for me? And so we wanted to, the questions you asked were about what do we need to do first, what really needs to be done. And there has been a committee diligently working on that for months now. And we're going to cover those topics. I'll handle this part. You take it from here.
I'm having no idea what Molly just said.
I just said what we were going to talk about today.
Oh, okay. Always surround yourself with people smarter than you.
Is there something for the kids? Oh, there is something for the kids. I'm sorry. There is something for the kids. If the kids would want to go with Kristen.
Only the kids. I know we just did a whole mess of praying, but I need all the help I can get. So if y'all don't mind, let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings you've given us. Thank you especially today for the blessing of Redeemer. This is such a spiritual home for so many of us and so near and dear to our hearts. Lord, let me feel your presence so that the words that I choose are clear and understood, and they are received with the love and hope that fills my heart. This I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Dan Walker, and I have the privilege to be the senior warden here at Redeemer. And today, most importantly, I have the privilege of working with a team of folks that volunteered to be on this team to figure out what do we do, what are the priorities for our capital campaign. So before I get started, and I wrote this down because I'm very forgetful, I've got notes this time. I just would like, and if you don't mind standing, Bob Bueller, would you please stand? Tommy Gerganis, Jim Huffman, Scott Keevan, I don't know that he's here today, his wife representing him. Andy Mason, I know, is on vacation. Rick Mauer, I know, is not here. John Ruck, I don't think I saw John. And Mike Webb, and our sponsors, and these people are very near and dear to the team and important, our sponsors from the vestry, Mark Baker and Stephanie Churchman. So, please give those folks a round. There has been a fair amount of work that we've done, but I wanted to start off, and by the way, my intent's to talk for 20, 25 minutes and then give plenty of time for questions, but I want to go back a little bit because one of the things that I just cannot say strongly enough, and I don't want anybody leaving this place hearing anything other than the things that we talk about, the things that we need to do, the things that have gone beyond the point that they should have, are not because anybody did the wrong thing. It's not because people didn't care. I fully believe that at every step of the way, everybody did the best they could with the resources at hand. But regardless, it brings us to where we are. So this work has been an accumulation of efforts. So I'll take you back to 2019, I believe it was, when the three amigos, better known as Tommy and Greg Collada and Lou Markwith, and there may have been others, but I know the three amigos were involved, presented to the vestry a request for a capital campaign with things that needed to be done. That's back in 2019, and it was approved. The problem is what happened shortly after that was a pandemic, and that put it off. Then we had a situation where we lost our priests, and we were in priest search mode. That delayed it. So this is not something that a light bulb went off and we realized, oh, there's stuff that we need to take care of. This is something that has been in the works. So we took the work that was given to us from that original proposal. Then in addition to that, I think it was 2023 when the vestry brought in a building inspector to inspect the building top to bottom and give us recommendations of things that need to be done. So that was the second thing. The third is we used our eyes. There's a lot of stuff that you can see when you look around that needs to be done. From the first two efforts, we had a high-level idea of what the cost would be. I like to refer to it as a 30,000-foot level of what the cost would be. So the first priority for this team was let's take it from 30,000 foot to 300 foot. Not trying to get precise, you have to do a bid for that, and we don't do bids until you're ready to move. But we wanted to find out with a fair degree of accuracy what things were going to cost so that we could then prioritize what would come first, what would come second. That's what we've done. And so we've actually put things in buckets. So there are things that are the top priority. And then we have a second level priority, which are incredibly important, vitally important. When you hear them, you're going to go, yep, we need to do that. Not quite where the top is. And then we've got a third level and a fourth level. This does not equate to this should be done in year one, this year two. It just means we're acknowledging that while all of this is important, all things aren't created equal. So what we have today and what we're going to be talking about today is the estimates for what we currently believe next needs to happen. The next steps after that, our work, unfortunately, for the team is not done. Because what we have started to work on is, for each of these projects, developing a contractor list by which we will do RFPs, requests for proposals. So we will have multiple vendors that we will be bringing in for these different projects so that we get quotes that we believe are the best value for the dollar that we can get, okay? And then obviously once we know, we have to kind of know how much money we're working with, because there may be some things on this list that we can't get to. Again, this church today is going to be in the same situation as we've been all along, which is there is always a scarcity of resources. Think back to your college days, your economics 101. Scarcity of resource, that's why we're in the situation we're in now. So it depends on the generosity of everybody here, everybody watching online, of how much of these things we can accomplish and when. Okay? That's it. So we'll come up with a list of contractors. We've already got a pretty good list, and then we will write up RFPs. We will write up the proposals so that everybody is proposing off of the same hymn sheet. So the top level priorities, the way I think of this is, if we did not raise enough money to accomplish this, our recommendation to the vestry would be take out a loan. We got to do this. We got to do it, period. So that's what we mean when we say top priority. And I am not doing this in a particular order, okay? But some of it makes sense. Like, for instance, we've got foundation work that needs to be done in the office area. The estimate, we brought in a structural engineer to help us figure out what needed to be done. We estimate that's at $25,000. Needs to be done for the safety of the church. This beautiful building was built without gutters. I don't know if there's any of y'all that don't have gutters on your house, but there is somebody who doesn't have gutters. It sucks. That's my official theory. What's that? It looks wonderful, but a lot of the stuff that we're repairing, foundation, siding, was caused because of the water that did not go away from the building, but went in. Okay, when the water comes down over here and hits the brickwork that looks beautiful out there, it bounces up on the siding. So that siding is always wet. Therefore, it's rotted. Okay? Underneath, when the gutters aren't there to take the water away from the foundation, it goes underneath the foundation. So, we are proposing that we put gutters all around the building. That's going to be $35,000. By the way, we've already approved, Molly has already signed the approval of doing the office now because we've done some work on the crawl space, which has already been somewhat messed up because of additional moisture coming in because we don't have gutters. So there is a reason for the timing of this. Gutters will be very early on in the process. The roof. There's 60% of our roof that, as far as we can tell, has never been replaced. I thought we had gotten a lot out of the HVAC system. That can't hold a candle to how long the roof's been on. The roof over the nave needs to be replaced. It's about 60% of the roof. That's going to cost us $150,000. Siding. I mentioned the siding, and we do have some good news here. We went into this thinking the siding was perhaps going to be the second largest ticket item. And what we found out from our contractor, and then Tommy did his own test, is a lot of the siding is actually good. It just is in desperate need of painting. There is some that's rotted. Again, if it's somewhere where the rain can splash up, it's probably rotted, but it's a minority. So we believe we can replace the siding. Unfortunately, that's one item that we really won't know until we start doing it, because there's no good way to test each and every piece of siding. But we are estimating that was going to cost us $30,000. Exterior painting. Church is in desperate need of painting. That's $130,000 to paint the church, we believe. Windows and doors. If you came in, I'm sure these doors, if you happen to look down as you came in, you would notice those doors are rotted. We lock them every Sunday. It wouldn't take you 3 seconds to get into them, because if you go like this, you're going to go right through and you're going to be in the church. Okay? They're not the only doors, but those are probably the worst example of the doors. But we've got doors and windows, either that need to be replaced or in some cases just need to be fixed, repaired. We believe that is going to cost $25,000. Brickwork. We got some beautiful brickwork here. However, some of it's falling apart. Not all of it, but some of it. If you go to the lobby, not the foyer, the lobby, who says Mary Alligood can't teach an old dog? If you go to that area outside of the lobby, there is a lot of loose bricks. I mean loose. And I was out there one day, I think we were doing some event, and I watched some young man come running, skipping, and jump up and hit that top thing, and he was right beside a brick that there is no mortar holding it on. It's like, oh my goodness, heart starts going like this. So it's called repointing, Okay, we got to do that. The good news is that's only about $6,000, we believe. So you total all that up, and that's $400,000. It's $400,000, and if there was any of that we did not raise, again, our strong recommendation to the vestry is then borrow it. We've got to do that, whether it's for the safety of us. I mean, the brickwork needs to be done so everybody can climb the steps safely. or if it's to take care of this blessing we've been given. I mean, I can't tell you, I've walked around with a lot of these contractors, and every single one marvels at how beautiful this building is. And a lot of them do a lot of work for churches, and they talked about how truly magnificent this facility is. So, top priorities, $400,000. One step below that are this list of things. And you will hear, and I think you will hopefully agree, that these are incredibly important also. The remaining HVAC systems that we have that are 30 plus years old. I'm telling you, HVAC isn't designed to last 30 years. We've got $100,000 in HVAC units that we have not replaced yet. Thank the Lord, they're still working, but they need to be replaced. The nave, we would really love to paint the nave. And when you hear the rest of this list, it may not seem like it's at the same level that we're here every Sunday. We're here every week together worshiping. I don't know that this has ever been repainted. No. It needs to be brought up to help us in our rejoicing. I mean, this is where we're so close together in the Lord. It'd be nice for it to look fitting. $41,000 is what it's going to cost. Bring in scaffolding, move some of the pews, and get this painted. Choir loft. We would like to reconfigure the choir loft. I don't know how many of you have ever been up there. It's an accident waiting to happen. There are risers up there. They're a little bit difficult to get around. So we would like to take the risers out, reconfigure things. That we believe is going to be $25,000. Part of the reason for that cost is we have to have an architectural drawing done. The bell tower, repairs to the bell tower. A lot of y'all remember how at the end of each service we used to have the bell ring. What a beautiful sound that was. And even more beautiful was to go back there and look at these little kids riding up and down while Dave Letters, somebody, was working with them so that they could ring the bell. They just had such joy in their face, and I loved hearing the sound. We need work done, and the estimate there is $25,000 so that it can structurally be safe to be used. Audio-visual upgrade. I got an amen from Brother Rayball at the back. There's two parts of this, and the one part that we put as a team in the second level of priority was the AV upgrade for this room and for the choir loft. This is to make this so that whether you're here or listening online, the sound quality is what we want it to be. We're worshiping God. We want that to be a very positive experience, whether you're here with us physically or online. The estimate there for this portion is $70,000. The last thing is there are some security items that we first looked at even when Eric Frazier was in charge of buildings and ground, but we knew we couldn't afford it at that time. So there's some additional upgrades that would include some additional cameras out in the parking lot and on the building looking out to provide additional security. There's some of this that may really be a level 3. We really want to believe we need to present to the vestry and to get the vestry's buy-in because of it being a security issue. So that's second level needs. Again, I stress needs, not wants. That's $350,000. So we're at $750,000. Again, please let me repeat, this is not us going, feels like. This is us getting contractors who do this for a living and are walking through the facility and giving us estimates, okay? The third level, and Dale Bateman, if he was here, might disagree with me on this. The first one we had a third is the parking lot loan. It's a $260,000 loan that we took out to finish the parking lot. We actually did two loans. We had $170,000 on hand that had been donated. We borrowed $100,000 from the foundation, and we borrowed $260,000 from the bank. That loan is 6 3/4 interest. That hurts. It hurts Dale every month when he pays that interest payment. That in and of itself is the level 3, paying off the $260,000. The next level I'll call is the nice to have. Hopefully some of you would want to argue with me and say, no, that's a need to have. But I'm going to call it nice to have. We'd like to paint Parish Hall. Next to this room is the most often used room for the most part, second most used room, and it could use a fresh coat of paint, to say the least. That's $27,000. Parish Hall AV. So for any of y'all who do adult formation, and we hope most of you this next year join adult formation, the room could use some enhancements to make it make it better for doing adult formation, but also for church functions. It would be nice to have the ability to do some audio visual while we're using that room, whether it's a Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. That's almost $40,000, $39,000. If we had the money, we would love the $41,000 for this does not include the painting the inside of the bell tower. I separated that out. The acolytes and the lay readers are only ones who see that. It's not quite the same level as this. But to paint that and Pender Hall kitchen would be $10,000. Lastly but not leastly, we've got two other loans that we would love to pay off. We'd love to pay off the mortgage. It's $190,000. It's 3.5% interest, hence the reason it's nice to have. And then the loan to the foundation, which is $100,000. So that all told comes to, when you add all four levels together, it's $1.4 million. Again, those are estimates, but we believe they're really close estimates. Our goal was to be within a 10% factor. Obviously, in today's age, you can never get anybody to give you a bid that's worth but so much time. 90 days is pretty normal. But in today's environment where a lot of contractors don't know from month to month what tariffs are going to look like and what their cost of raw materials is going to be, no one will quote that far off. So that's what will take us to the next phase when we go out and we do the bids. I think I actually beat my time, so that affords us plenty of time to answer questions. So one request that I have is, the question that you have, somebody else is bound to have, so if you have a question, ask it. I will answer it to the best of my ability, or call on one of my brothers on the team to answer that. But if you would, raise your hand, because not everybody will be able to hear you either online or here, and we'll get a microphone. Yes, Steve will get you the mic. And Steve, Miss Terry over there.
I'm just,
Yep.
okay. I'm just curious if anything has been added to address Pender Kitchen, especially the cabinets, which if you open under some of them, they're totally rotted out.
No. That was on our original list. I know Mike Webb has done some work on the cabinets. Whether he's answered everything, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. but that fell off. So there's another thing that could be added to the list. Just one second, Steve is coming for you. I know. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I've heard the capital campaign really won't start till, September? But if any funds were to come in now, is there anything that it could be applied to
Yes.
right now?
Yeah, so,
No, we would love to have you go ahead and contribute, that would be great. We will not start on anything until we have an idea of what our total pledges is going to be, so that we can prioritize within the priorities.
I will say we are spending money as we speak, and it's coming out of the operating fund, which is dwindling down. So any money, my point being, you don't need to wait for somebody to ask. If you go into Realm, I'm pretty sure now, you can put in a pledge and you can give money now. We have received some funds.
So let me address that. The vestry is nearly 100% subscribed already, have made their pledges to the capital campaign that will go over the 3 years. So nearly 100% of your vestry has already subscribed and committed to the capital campaign. We just haven't, we're waiting for program year to get started and people be back off vacation to kick it off and actually put a brochure in your hand and a pledge card.
Oh, I thought you already did. There's a QR code in the announcements that'll get you there.
Could I ask?
Oh, yeah.
Hello. So just a historical question. In 2019, when the work was done to develop a list for a capital campaign, and I'm assuming it was approved by the vestry and donations began, donations did not begin?
No, it would never started.
Okay. Is there, for the current project, and it's a big one, is there a project manager, and are we using a licensed contractor to oversee all of this?
We don't have one person that's overseeing everything. We will have somebody responsible for the painting, somebody responsible for the big work. But no,
Who's overseeing the contractors?
we haven't gotten them yet, so we have not picked that person.
So there's a person then that's taking a look at the budget, overseeing the work, coordinating the RFP?
There will be the team that I just mentioned.
4 people?
No, it was 8, I think.
Is that 8 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there feels like there's a question in there.
Are they contractors?
No, yeah, well, some of them are.
They're licensed contractors?
Yeah.
Great, okay, great. Okay, great. And then the RFP, is it possible that we have congregants that also are contractors? Are you taking 3 bids? Are you making it open to folks that come here and are members of the church and worship? If I'm a painting contractor, how do I bid for the project?
Yeah, it's not going to be open bids, certainly not. But the intent is to have 2 or 3 bidders. If somebody is a contractor and does this work professionally, then absolutely let us know. Anybody on that team, including me, Dan Walker, let me know. We would be thrilled to include parishioners. But I want to stress, we want to make sure all of this is done top notch. Yep. Yes. I'm really cautious about, yeah. We are developing a list of people that we know are qualified to do it. But I stress, if somebody in the parish has the abilities, let us know and we will certainly interview. Yes.
See, probably a question you could best answer. What is our average online attendance if we're going to spend $70,000 to upgrade the internal sound system for here?
Let me address two issues with that. I can give you an exact number in a few moments because I can go back and look at the computer. The upgrade of the sound system is not exclusively for the online. We are already out of compliance with ADA because of our seating in the room. We have to have a system that integrates under the law with hearing aids. We were grandfathered when that system was put into place. But that grandfathering is going away very soon. So we are already running the risk. We have people in this room who have a difficult time Sunday to Sunday participating fully in the worship. So let me be clear that this is not just for the online. But I can give you an exact number in a few moments. I have to go back to the computer. It's significant enough that we are still held as a high mark for the diocese. We have come through the COVID issues, and we still have a very large number of online week to week, both live and throughout the week.
I just want to go back a second to the question that Jim had because I was confused about the answer. So, Molly, you said that you're going to wait until you understand how much money you have pledged to start work, correct?
Anything that is not, I mean, if HVAC system breaks, we have to fix it. But we won't start on the roof until we know we have enough money to cover the roof or we have to take out a loan.
Okay, so then Dan, when you mentioned we are already doing work, what does that entail exactly?
Mold remediation was something that we found out from the building inspector. We couldn't wait. So we went ahead and did that. So that was money that we took out of the operating that, if left to its own devices, would have been part of the capital campaign. So my answer is exactly what Molly just said. Things are popping up. We had a roof leak. I think it was over Kristen's office. We take care of that, and it's coming out of the operating fund. Right now, we don't have anything left to pull from. So I guess my point was, if we have some dollars there, it may help us as things go down, as something breaks, another HVAC goes away. As Molly said, we can't wait. We can't sit here in July in Richmond and have an HVAC and say, well, let's wait until we have money. Because then we're going to end up with mold in the sheetrock, and now we got to replace sheetrock. So there are things that we have been doing that if we had a robust buildings and ground fund, we would take out of there, but.
Just to answer the previous question, as of right now, our online attendance is 2,236 computers. Please understand that that's a singular login. So a family of 5 that happens to log in and watch it on Sunday, we only count them as 1. No, that is our to this point in the year. That represents on a given week, our percentage on a given week, 33%, and that's an actual figure, we track that, 33% of our weekly attendance comes from our online. We have people who watch us literally all around the world. And I can't give you more specifics because we don't pay for the high-end stats. I'm not suggesting we pay for the high-end stats, but the things I can track. So it is a significant number. It is a significant amount, and that again, that's, if you want more details into the nitty-gritty numbers, I'll be glad to share them with you. I just have to be at my computer to do that.
I was wondering how the selection of contractors will be, that we will be asking quotes from will be determined. I'm sure there are many parishioners who have had interactions with contractors. They might be business people who've had work done. I have a neighbor who has, 30, 40 restaurants, has used contractors to build and renovate buildings from scratch. Is there going to be a request out to parishioners to at least ask Can you recommend?
Yeah, that's the same question Denise asked, and I'll give the same answer. Yes, we would certainly invite that. What I will tell you is, and I'm just telling you from good business practice, we're not going to invite 43 people to do a quote. Don't have time, doesn't make any sense. We will invite 3-4 people to quote. So if we get 12 from parishioners, we'll narrow it down to 3 or 4 and ask for a quote. But we want to move on this. When we get the money, we want to go. So please, if you know a contractor, get them in touch with us. We want that. But we also want to be efficient and effective in what we do.
And remember that we asked in late 2024 and early this year, we asked anybody who had expertise, time, and willingness to participate in this process that's been done to date. We asked for them to volunteer, and that's how we got the committee of 8 that has done yeoman work already. So we have done that.
So if you got a contractor, you get it to us. We're likely will meet with the contractor, have them go through, because we want to make sure it's apples to apples. I don't want one contractor giving an incredibly low bid, but the work's not up to par if we're getting it together. So it's really important for us, if you got contractors, get them to the community, we will work with these folks.
And for those who may not have been able to hear that, especially online, what Jim Hoffman was saying, absolutely give us. And by the way, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until we put out the asks. Give us the names now of the contractors. If you know it's a painting contractor, if you know it's a construction give us the names. And what Jim was saying is the team will interview them. We will talk to the people. So don't hesitate. But we're going to try to stay on a schedule so we can get things done. By the time we know how much money we're going to have, winter, we won't be using air conditioning anymore. It will be heat in this room. So we want to keep moving so we can get some things done as quickly as possible.
Seems to me that there have got to be people in this congregation who know how to do some of this stuff, the mortar work, time and talent donations.
So the question was, do we have people in-house that can do some of the work? For the most part, we are intending to go out to contractors. So if we have somebody who is licensed and bonded contractor can do the work and they're willing to donate their time, that's a wonderful thing. But what we want to stay away from is having somebody who's handy and can do some of the work. That is not our intent. But again, if you are a licensed contractor, if you know a licensed contractor, we would certainly love it. If there's somebody who has that skill set and wants to donate his work, that's the best. Yeah, absolutely. Amen. We'll take it. Yes, sir.
I hope you can hear me.
Oh, there you go.
The Mount Pisgah, they had some work, and you can see it's kind of messed up. So probably don't want to use the contractor they used. Build some smaller projects before we go for the highly visible projects.
I also want to remind you all that we have the gift of Mike Webb. I think most of you probably know who Mike is. Mike gives us of his time. If Mike were to step in front of a bus tomorrow, it would cost us $40,000 in salary per year to replace what he does, not to mention benefits. It would cost us somewhere between $65,000 and $70,000 a year to replace Mike when he fully retires. And he is the one who keeps this place together. Paper clips, bubble gum, yeah. Mike is utterly amazing. And he does things well and has our best interest at heart in how much he spends. And he volunteers all of his time.
By the way, in case The gentleman in the back had a really good point, and in case the microphone was in and out, in case you didn't hear, what he was pointing out is there are lessons to be learned. You may want to start slow and build up so that projects that are the most visible maybe aren't the first. I will tell you that a lot of this, the order that it's done, is kind of common sense and you can't really debate it. We will not paint the nave until we put a roof on. Right? So there is some of these things. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the nave, the team felt very strongly about the nave. We could have easily put it in one. But the reason being, we knew we got to fix the foundation, and you got to fix the floor, and you got to fix the ceiling before you do anything in between. So there's a lot of that we got to get on because we can't do other things.
Dan, the only thing I would ask is for the team to consider plussing up the budget. Some of the numbers that you put out, for example, windows and doors, $25,000. I personally know a person who just had their home redone, and their windows were $60,000. I think it's woefully underneath, and I'm just asking that you consider a buffer above your final numbers.
Well, again, it really doesn't matter unless we get a lot more money. So let me say that on every step of the process, we've tried to, if the bid came in at $8,000, we wrote down $10,000. We did have a contractor come and look at 131 windows. Believe that or not, I swear I think that's the right number, 131 windows in this building. The doors, there are only 3 or 4 doors that they believe needed to be replaced. The rest of them could be fixed. So the information we got did not come from us taking a best estimate. It was a licensed contractor saying who does the work. In some cases, by the way, we've got hard quotes. The $35,000 gutter is a hard quote that we feel comfortable we could move on now if we had the money.
And we are moving on having gutters put on the office because the damage that's being done is so great that we're going ahead. Now it's just under $2,000. It's just the office wing. But that's going to be done in the next month. Has to be done.
Tommy, hang on a second. Steve's coming back to you.
I need these things. There was a question or comment about quality of contractors. We already are seeking references or have sought references in this first round. But when we get in the final bidding process, that certainly would be a major round for us to have references from each of these contractors, contacts so we prevent what you talked about.
So for those who couldn't hear or those online either, what Tommy said is part of the process that we go through when we're vetting a contractor is going out and getting references and finding out what people think about that work. So that's part of the vetting process that will come once we put out an RFP.
So Dan.
Oh, Lord, no. I was on a roll.
No, 2 things I want to say. From someone who has been from the top of the bell tower to the small little crawl space that goes from Parish Hall into Parish Hall kitchen, great job putting everything together. There are more things than you know in this building. Beautiful building, complicated in a lot of different ways. So hats off for all the work you've done. And know that we will find surprises. I can say this, you may not be able to, but you will find surprises in this work. The question I have, though, is 2018, 2019, we replaced a large quantity of the roof. I thought we replaced the entire roof on this building.
No, Rick Maurer says 40%. We
just went from here over?
Right.
Got it, okay, perfect.
Nope.
Tractor trailer loads of shingles, I just didn't remember. We replaced at the time.
Yeah, Rick Maurer, I think, was actually, he may have been on the vestry when that work was done.
And great job to the committee putting everything together. It's a good comprehensive list. And to the question that came up about contractors, it is great to look at parishioner contractors, but it's also important that parishioner contractors do not automatically get preferential treatment. And that is a huge piece. Just because your friend, your neighbor, your cousin, your brother, your sister, your college roommate does this, does not mean that this scale is the work they're prepared to do. They may be great at your house, but they may not be great on a building of this size, and may not have done something to that scale. So great job with it, and thanks so much for all the time that the group has already put in so far.
Thank you, Eric. And Eric, for those who don't know Eric, he was buildings and grounds for 3 years. Yes, ma'am. By the way, while we're getting the microphone to her, I want to say that there's something that didn't show up on the list, but we believe really should be. It's not a tangible thing. One of the problems that we have is, and this isn't a capital campaign question perhaps as much as a stewardship question, which is, in my household, and I'm guessing I'm not unique, every month I pay for the mortgage, I pay electricity, I do all this, and I put aside money each month into a savings vehicle for my house, for the stuff that I don't know. I know that 25 years from the time we built it, I'm going to probably have to put a new roof on. So each month, I'm stashing money away. Now, I will tell you, there's a surprising thing, like a tree fell on my house 3 months in. We weren't quite prepared for it. We need, as a church, so that we don't just stay in a constant state of, oh my gosh, the priority team feels strongly we need to look at, when we're budgeting, being able to set aside money. We're going to paint the building. It's going to need to be painted again. It's going to need to be painted on a recurring basis. We need to be saving from the time we paint it. We need to start saving to paint it again. So there's a lot more stuff that we believe very strongly in, but that's probably more for stewardship. Yes, ma'am. Peggy.
Someone just threw out a comment, I think just as a side, that, if we have 2,000, did you say 200,000? 2,000, how many?
2,300 total at this point in the year.
2,300 listeners online, that I think we should play this town hall meeting for 4 or 6 weeks in a row, because, people, I have a friend in Chesapeake who loves to listen in, and you might be surprised at how many donations you get, especially if you emphasize that it's going to improve the sound system and how they will be able to view and see this.
Okay. Steve's throwing things at me so that he jumps in.
Well, no, I'm just going to address that. This is being streamed live as we speak. And all of our videos from the word go are always available. Yes. And we have a link online for giving and pledging. Like, they can click right there on the screen. Okay. So we have addressed that as much as we can. We are somewhat limited in what we're allowed to do because we don't pay for a monthly ability to monetize. We should not ever do that. So we can't do certain things because then we have to give Google and YouTube a cut, and we don't want to do that. So.
Is it possible at the end of each service or beginning of each service for the next month or 6 weeks to say, refer to this date?
That would be something in the announcements. I mean, that's something that's very simple. This is labeled as Town Hall Meeting Capital Campaign. So anyone who goes to our site can get that immediately.
And I want you to know that there will be, when the capital campaign materials are completed and ready to be sent out, they will be sent to many more people than just our membership list. Every Reds parent will receive one. Anybody that I've had a couple people say to me, well, send me the brochure, I'll send a check in. Now, it's probably going to be $50, but $50 adds up if it's half a dozen people who send it in. So anybody you've got that you know of, your friend who's in Chesapeake and wants to participate the way that she's participating now, let us know. We'll be happy to send the brochure to anyone.
She's homebound, she can't get out.
Right. Yep.
Terry.
Nope, sorry.
This may be more, I guess, related, but not necessarily building fund. At some point, I thought we had a fundraising committee specifically to help, and we were going to have some event or something, I can't remember what it was. Seems like last year we were going to do something in the fall, or, anyway, what happened to that? Are we still considering things like that to help raise money?
We have a capital campaign committee. You just haven't seen them very much. Richard is the chair of that. Richard.
Okay.
I think she's referring to, we talked a year or so ago about having a fundraising group.
Yeah, a group, and doing special events. I'm not talking car washes, things like that, but it was something.
Is that here? Ed Schrader, I know,
It's right here.
stood up and may have been his brilliant idea, which,
This was in response to something that was said a couple of years ago, I guess 2 years ago, that instead of always reaching in your pocket for a donation or a contribution, that we should have some type of church event on a regular basis, if possible, that would generate funds to come into the church. Some of the ideas were maybe a festival, a couple other activities. I know that Rob Schmidt was also working at the same time on some of these events. So in other words, the idea was, instead of reaching into your wallet, maybe have events that would generate funds, but it has to be supported by the whole church. Because the problem was, and I'm sure Rob will admit, lack of volunteers. So everybody's going, yay, let's do this, but at the same time, nobody shows up. So one of them was a festival outside, I think it was a barbecue festival that we wanted to have at night, in the fall. But once again, it just lost its emphasis on doing it. So the idea is outside activities generate the money instead of reaching in your wallet.
Right, and that's not unlike the rummage sale. That is such a big event. We just haven't gathered interest enough to consider other events like that.
But can we get another committee of people?
It can certainly be talked about. If anyone here would like to serve on such a committee, please let me know.
Hold on, one more item. Anybody here from the Wishing Well committee that raised money at Independence for the gala?
That's really, they're their own
I
committee,
know.
yeah.
I want to get an idea of how much money they raised.
They've raised over $200,000, but it's over a multitude of years.
I understand, but something starts somewhere.
I don't know if anybody can remember doing Brunswick stew, but we used to have the best time. I can remember doing it 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. And it brought in some money and made fellowship as well. Yeah, so I don't know whether anybody would think about something like that.
I'll put your name on the committee.
that's why I never raise my hand. These have been wonderful, wonderful questions. It's clear from the questions, y'all truly listened to what we were saying. Hang on, Brother Lou.
How many years are we figuring for pledges?
It will be a 3-year campaign. So the money pledged, we will ask to be given within a 3-year period. So it'll start Labor Day. 3 years we'll be collecting the funds. Just
To follow up on that, you're not talking waiting 3 years before the first brick gets laid. You're talking
3 years before we get the last dollar in.
But the work would start as soon as we were fiscally able. Thank you.
But I get yelled at if you don't have the mic. And that is more important to me.
Is part of the capital fundraising group involve endowment an endowment piece? And is that part of the 3 year? In other words, do you have a goal for endowments, for people to, in their financial planning or in their wills, to sign an endowment agreement? Then does that become part of the basis for fundraising?
No, cash in, that's a whole different thing. And I'd love to get into this, but I don't want to take away from the capital campaign. We do have a Redeemer Foundation, which is developing an endowment. Yeah, I mean, it's got $400,000 in it now. That's where we borrowed $100,000 to be able to do the parking lot. Yes, yes, $500,000.
Right.
Before we gave 100 to church, so we're basically at 300 now. There is a whole set of ideas that we, in the bylaws, it tells us what we can't use it for operating items. So yes, there are a whole, it could, but we're talking about small dollars that we're allowed to spend per year to make sure that we don't tap into the endowment. So again, I don't want anybody to get confused by that though. The foundation is there. Thank goodness we had it when we had to do the parking lot or lose the $170,000 gift we had to do it. And so that was a great way to have a good portion of the money.
If people wanted to write the church in their will and for their financial planning, there is a foundation that is established with bylaws, they will do that now.
Correct.
If you get $500,000, because that $100,000 is an asset of the foundation, then at that point, it's stagnant based on the rules and other uses that are not operational for the church.
It can run into it. I'm sorry, you're the chair of the foundation, you should answer that.
Yeah, it could, but again, we can't distribute more than $15,000 a year. No, the bylaws are very clear, so that's what I'm saying. And I don't want to take away, if somebody is getting, if somebody, what I don't want to miss sight on, because this is important. Greg has been an instrumental part, Tommy, of the foundation. And Greg's worked hard on a new brochure that's a beautiful brochure about this. And we keep holding off putting it out because we don't want to send mixed signals. We have two needs right now that are so, number one, we need everybody to prayerfully consider your stewardship goal, okay? Stewardship. The money that we use, sorry, going offline here, but
okay.
The money we use, we are in the process now, we're going to have to make tough decisions, okay? And you've heard me say this, I've been on the vestry for 3 years. For 3 years I've said, we're going to have to make tough decisions because the funds that come in are not enough to cover what we go out. So prayerfully consider that is a huge need. Second, the capital campaign. That is a huge need. That's money that we need to raise in the next 3 years to put our physical house in order. Yes, we would love people to give to the foundation, and please, I am my trust, give money to the foundation. But right now, I don't want to take anybody's mind away to what is the here and now. And it was funny, somebody said, well, you know, the foundation's for a rainy day. Well, guess what? It's pouring right now. So yes, the foundation is important, very important. Again, as Molly said, I'm the president of the foundation. It's near and dear to my heart. Capital campaign and stewardship is where I hope everybody keeps their focus. We truly are. When you have a chance, please, I know I'm between you and a hot dog and a hamburger. Come look at these pictures, and I think it's Eric Frazier that we owe to taking the pictures. Was it Eric?
Eric and Colin Blair.
Okay, very good. I mean, these pictures, you think you know the work that needs to be done. You see these pictures, and it's even more dramatic. we need your prayerful consideration. If we don't, then again, there's more tough decisions that have to be made. Other questions? It's shortly afternoon, but yeah, Peggy.
It's not really a question, but would you put those posters in Pender Hall so they're up for coffee hour for the next few weeks?
I'm sure we can do
We
that.
have a plan for just that, Peggy.
Great idea.
Guys, I know normally we're done pretty quick, but I think the level of dialogue is because of the level of interest, and I appreciate that. We are an incredibly strong group, and I am confident that anything we put our minds to, we can do it. So please, prayerfully consider what you heard. If you have additional questions, reach out to me, reach out to anybody on the team, reach out to Molly, reach out to Mark Baker or Stephanie Churchman, who are in charge of buildings and grounds, and we'll be glad to answer it. Thank you all. Go have a hot dog or hamburger.
I didn't do a dismissal, so let's do that. Ready? Everybody stand up. Let us go forth in the name of Christ. Thanks be